Welcome back to that Eurovision site where today we are continuing with our what are we calling this?
Artist reaction, I suppose.
Our artist reveal reactions with Claude from the Netherlands, who has just recently been announced as the Dutch representative for Netherlands at Eurovision 2025. So we've got the Dutch stan of the site and the Dutch person of the site to just see what we think.
My very first reaction was like, him? I'm not that aware of him, I'll admit. We've had singers I was more aware of in recent years. But I'm aware of him, which is always a good start by Dutch standards. He has a good voice. His music is not necessarily my usual taste, but I do think it fits in nicely with Eurovision. So I just expect Netherlands back into the final. That was like my immediate
Yeah.
gut reaction.
My first reaction was he is young. Like he is 21 years old, younger than me, which feels weird. But after that gives me little concern after the last few years that the Netherlands has had in this contest behind the scenes, what with everything that happened in May, Mia and Dion just being even now being really bullied by the Dutch press. Then the year before, Steen saying that she had just a bad time behind the scenes. I just hope I trust that after Yost, they will have a very, very strict, good team in place to support him. But I still have concerns. Is he too young to have this all hoisted upon him? Because Dutch participation even now isn't uncontroversial after everything that's happened. So putting someone who is relatively young in the spotlight like that, concerning a bit, but as Angus said, not someone I was overly familiar with. I knew like a little bit. But from what I've heard from his last album, really fun. Not not the most me thing that they could have possibly sent, but something that I think will definitely resonate with quite a lot of viewers, especially if the currently secret two-language song that we all know it's going to be Dutch and French, which just just seems really, really the Netherlands sending a Dutch French song before Belgium is just very, very funny at the end of the day. And I listened to his album, it was quite fun. And I know Eurovision songs can tend to be different to the rest of the people's discographies, but I think he's showing a lot of promise that Netherlands can get back to the final, which feels weird to say, honestly, and maybe get a top 10.
Yeah, I mean, about the song, he's obviously being very secretive about it still because I don't even believe we have a proper date yet that we're going to get the song. Like that will be Afrotros loves to tease the teaser of a trailer of a thing that's happening. So we'll get that at some point
I'm
in the
sure
next 3 months. I
late
assume,
February, early March, it usually is.
yeah, that's the usual like from mid-February onwards. But he did say already that this was the first new thing he did this year because before this he was working just on polishing the album and all that, and this is the first new song. So I do think you'll see an evolution in his songcraft, but not
Yeah,
necessarily a revolution. Also based on, and of course, the selection committee is going to praise this, to the high heavens. But the way they spoke about it, like, oh, it feels like it has big, like, global hit potential, etc., etc. That already fits with his general musical vibe. Like, he hasn't
yeah.
really had his breakthrough in Belgium, let alone France yet, which are like the two natural places where you would expect his music to be exported to first. But a bunch of his songs easily could have been exported if they wanted
Yeah.
to. As for, yeah, I mean, he's young, but he's been in the public, like on TV for quite some time now. In 2019, he competed in The Voice Kids. He didn't get too far, but that's still something. And then he did like a bunch of different singing competitions which weren't on TV, through which he got into the music industry because that's how he got his big break, basically. Because Arno Kapman, who may or may not be a known name for some people, and you need to be more in the general music business and less Eurovision itself. Although he was the co-writer of the Diepte, of course. But yeah, Arno Kapman assisted him in writing his first single, basically, La Da Da, which I think is a good. I think if we get anything that fits straight into his discography, I expect something a bit more that, which is a bit more electro poppy, whereas his last album was a bit more man on the guitar, but with a pop beat behind it. Like it's a subtle difference, but it's a clear difference.
Yeah. I think the electropop angle is absolutely what he should go down because, especially with all Up semi-finals now, he's going to want to like stand out, be big, and Eurovision is a great place for like a mixed language Euro banger, and it always will be. And we've seen countless times people will love stuff like that, and he can sing really well as well. So that's a great for like the jury side of things. So I think it's a promising selection for the Netherlands, but the wrong person from this year's Best Designers.
I know. To be fair, the best designers, they have so many people to choose from, and I think pretty much anyone who has been in Best Designers at any point who still makes music sent in something this year because they still, despite the very strict rules on who was allowed to apply this year for the Netherlands, they still got like over 300 applications, which is wild to think about.
Yeah, should have been Hannah May, if you're wondering.
Maybe she'll do some secret background singing. You don't know. We don't know
Maybe,
yet. No one
maybe,
knows.
maybe.
You never know. And maybe also Freek and Suzanne are involved or something, or any other random Dutch artist you may or may not have already been in contact with before. We have no clue as of right now.
Just get the rest of this year's cast as like his Gagna Magnus.
Why not? Now, as I already said, this is not an artist I was too familiar with. Like I heard some of his songs, especially one of his more recent releases, La Pression, was in a big ad campaign this year, which is what I know it from. But he has a lot of TV experience that I do think is worth touching on. As Daniel said, he was a part of Best Singer, so Best Singers. If you're in the Eurovision fandom, you must be aware of this show and its many other language spin-offs that I cannot pronounce for the life of me, slash always forget the names of.
Yeah, every country's got one pretty much.
Every country's got one by now, but I mean, he's been on Noorderslag. He was like part of the 3FM Awards, which is the most prestigious radio award in the country, basically, which is also televised. He made his proper regular festival debut at Passport, which again is also televised. He was supposed to be an opener for Stromae before Stromae had to cancel his concerts, which is why he then went touring with Suzanne. But he's been a guest in a celebrity quiz show. He was part of a performance at the Goud Televisiering, which are basically Dutch Emmys. He's been plenty busy, and currently he's signed to Cloud9 Music, which is part of Raymond van Vliet, which is also a big name of just the Dutch music industry. Like he has a lot of connections with a lot of big names in Dutch music industry, like also Snelle and Fleming, which will only say something to Dutch viewers, I'm sure, but just know they're big names. He also was a jury member last year, and I would love to
Oh,
know how he spread his points. Like, what did he vote for?
hang on.
Because he's one of the five Dutch jury members last year. Uh, so that's just an interesting little tip. So Raymond van Vliet was not Cloud. Cloud is he was too busy with everything else. Was it like he seems to have from how he was talking to the press now, so he seems to have his head on his shoulders. on the one hand, Dutch participation both in the Netherlands and outside of it is somewhat controversial in Eurovision, in a multitude of different contrary directions as well. But that means, especially because Afro is aware of that, I think he will be well sheltered from that.
Yeah.
And his manager specifically said, like, yes, this is a once in a lifetime experience. Just focus on the positives and we can deal with the rest another time. And I do think that's a good approach for the Netherlands to take this year around. For some baffling reason, we've already acknowledged that we're competing in 2026 as well. But that just means that the weight is off his shoulders. He does, like Cloud now does not have the pressure of he needs to prove why Netherlands should be at the contest.
Yeah.
So if things go wrong, it's fine. But he has to kind of voice that even if it was a boring song, he should be able to qualify to the final. And then at the final, he will get plenty of jury points. Or so one would think. You never know in Eurovision, anything can happen.
I believe he's also
Those are
doing
my
Pink Pop next year, which
Yeah, Pinkpop,
could be a
the
good
biggest
stage.
festival in the Netherlands, and never been, but always love to watch on like the parts on TV. And yeah, it's a big deal, Pinkpop.
And if as a Eurovision fan you don't know what Noorderslag is, you should.
Noorderslag is like the place where Eurovision artists past and future go.
Yeah, and I think like
It's
Estine's going there, Southern Lights are going there. I think Lord of the Lost are going there.
Maro has been there like 10 times. Goe has been there like twice. Some other Ukrainian artists that are like very big from Vidbeer. Just scroll through the artist list, and either you'll find artists you already know or artists you'll
You
know soon enough.
trust
It's
me,
a very cool.
you will find artists that you already know. It is a very, very good lineup.
Yeah. For context, because we might as well blab about this a little bit. Eurosonic Noorderslag, also just known as Noorderslag, is um is a showcase festival. It's a non-profit showcase festival that also gives out like a ton of different awards. It's like sort of a European organized thing. Like that's the Eurosonic part, whereas Noorderslag is the Dutch part, even though it's all mix and match nowadays. And everyone just does. It's much more of a talent exchange where then people get in contact with the rest of the record industry. So it's a Maro meet and greet where it's just all the artists then come and be
Yeah.
like, "Oh, we can finally make a song with you." Again, I mean that positively for anyone watching.
Yeah,
Um,
you got like Ella Marie off Sammy Grand Prix, San Pedro from Benidorm, um, uh, Big Mama from Italy. So people from like all over Europe. But
Baby Lasagna is there
yeah,
this year for
and
some.
and he's done this like 4 times, so he's gonna have connections.
Yes, Carpet Man is there, for our Ukraine fans as well. Like, there's a lot of good artists there from all over Europe, and
So he's
just
got
something that's fun to
experience.
keep an eye on.
So just finally, if you if you are given the gift of foresight, where is Claude gonna come in Eurovision?
I think he'll finish 11th place, losing out on 10th on the tiebreak
See, men cannot come at 11th anymore, so he's coming ninth.
on
So
tiebreak.
yes, let us know what you think about Cloud getting internally selected for the Netherlands for Eurovision 2025 down below. And be sure to check out that Eurovision site on all your platforms. Subscribe on YouTube, follow us on Twitter, Bluesky, Tumblr, Threads, all those ones. And check out for all your Eurovision news at eurovisionsite.com. And we also do a podcast sometimes at that Euro podcast on wherever you get your podcasts. Thank you very much for watching and goodbye.
Bye.